please.
Sadler,
Here.
Wisner, here, Durin,
Here.
Legoff,
Here.
and Hecht. Here, and Kelly is excused.
Mr. Cox, for your information, we are a quasi judicial appeal board comprised entirely of village residents, bound by provisions of the Wisconsin statutes, appointed by the village board, and we hear appeals of decisions by the village administrator and the plan commission, and we also process requests for variances. Is there approval for the agenda?
I'll make the first motion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes of March 12th, 2024 meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
At this point, we'll open the public hearing meeting for a grant of a variance filed by Todd Cox on behalf of Door County Squires LLC.
You want me to read the public hearing notice aloud, Tom?
Hmm?
You want me to read the public hearing notice aloud?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. York County Squires LLC petitions for a variance from section 66.0403 sub 2 of the zoning code, which requires a driveway with 2 parking stalls be 40 feet in depth. Section 66.0406 sub 5 sub B, which requires the driveway be 5 feet from the lot line, and section 66.1060 sub 5, which requires 3 feet of landscaping between the pavement and a building. The petitioner proposes to retain a 2-stall asphalt driveway 37 feet in depth, as close as 3 feet from the lot line, with an approximate 1-foot landscaping buffer. The property is located at 10668 North Bay Shore Drive and is in a downtown business B3 zoning district. The purpose of this public hearing is to hear testimony from the petitioner or agents and from any party in favor or opposed to the petition.
Okay, Mr. Cox?
I'm gonna let Andy talk to the code and everything else. I'm just, I've been coming.
That's fine, no problem.
Yeah, I've been coming up here for 45 years. I'm from Green Bay. This is, I don't wanna say second home, because I know sometimes that's a bad thing up here, but this place is in my soul. Since I've got a 21-year-old and a 19-year-old daughter, we brought them up here every single year. Since they've been born for vacation. We bought property up here 8 years ago, so we have a place up here, and we're up here, a few months a year minimum. And bought this property here that we're talking about back 2019. Just to further kind of get into the community, and it's made some mistakes along the way. The first one is just be eyes wide open as far as who you go to business with. That has been since rectified, and things are moving in a good direction. The last hurdle here is the variance, and I think there's good rationale for us and for the community to have this granted, and I just appreciate the consideration, and I'll answer any other questions you have, but I'm gonna turn it over to Andy as far as what we're actually looking for and why.
Okay. Mr. Attorney?
Hi, I'm Andy Erlinson from Hurley Burrish in Madison. I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. So as the board may be aware, the upper level at the subject property, which is 10668 North Bay Drive in Sister Bay, was approved last August, and then the ruling was confirmed in September for use as a short-term rental. This is a building that is in the downtown business district. It's at the corner of Highway 42 and Mill Road. It sits at the northeast corner there. In the lower level of the building, there are 2 suites that are used for retail or office. And obviously, tourism is a huge part of the Sister Bay economy. Visitors need a place to stay. Obviously, short-term rental, I understand, has been something of a controversial subject in Sister Bay in the village. But with this property in this location, it's ideally suited for short-term rental. It is right near hotels, the inn across the street, of course. It is not a residence where people are trying to have a short-term rental with owner-occupied residences on either side. So in terms of having a place for people who come to enjoy Door County and Sister Bay specifically to stay, this property is ideally suited without having any of the downsides that can accompany converting residences in residential neighborhoods to that use. And so one of the conditions to using the upper level, Suite C, it's called, for a short-term rental was that the driveway needed to be dedicated to the use of the upper level, and there needed to be 2 parking spots. There was a directive also that the parking lot be paved. Mr. Cox has arranged to pave as much of that driveway as can be paved, given this very small lot. This building has been around a long time. This was not a design that Mr. Cox created this hardship for himself. It's certainly a permitted use. There would be a hardship to trying to conform to the driveway landscaping and setback requirements just because of the size of the lot, the placement of the building on this particular parcel, and the inability to adapt or change it, given the fact that it's bounded to the west by Highway 42, to the south by Mill Road. It has a northern property neighbor and another neighbor to the east. I do have images of the paved driveway that might depict the hardship factors and the inability to comply with the otherwise applicable zoning code requirements, as this was not, of course, new construction. This is adapting an existing property to a newly permitted use. And with your permission, if I could get permission to share my screen, I would be happy to show you the 3 images just so that you can see what's been done, and then invite comment or input as to what, if anything, from a landscaping standpoint, the board might want to require as a condition to issuing the requested and applied for variance.
Yes,
Okay.
do it.
Okay.
I just have to figure out how to make that work. Liz, do you know how to do that?
Yeah, I think the host has to enable participant screen sharing, particularly me. So once that's done, I can take it from there on my end.
Change the settings on here.
Big white box.
Post tools, maybe. Share screen. There we go. Okay, you should be able to now.
You hit got it, and then that'll clear the box out of
yeah.
there.
Yeah, we have to go over there. Would somebody mind going back there and just hitting the
I'll
OK
get it.
button?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Get your steps in, Liz.
Yeah. Thank you. It's just the okay button. There you go, perfect, thank you.
Okay, if I did this properly, and that's an if, what should be on your screen is an image of the subject property taken from the west, which would be the Green Bay side of Highway 42, looking back to the east. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the property, and I think the utility of this image shows that you know, there's not much room between the building and Highway 42, nor is there a ton of setback from Mill Road. The tree line that you see in the upper left corner of the image reflects what would be the northern boundary of the property. So there's not a ton of space to the north of the building where you might be able to use it for parking. So now I'm gonna go ahead and bring the, whoop, that's my door that somebody just installed. Give me a sec. Sorry about that. I'm gonna bring up a second image.
Oh, that's a nice family.
Oh, those are my, yeah, it's my daughter's graduation. It's a screensaver. So, so this image here is taken from the south across Mill Road. So you can imagine the hotel across the street. This is kind of on the sidewalk in front of it. So this is the paved area, and as you can see, with the garbage can that I'm hovering my cursor over here, and then this is a stairway that goes up to the upper unit, which is the living space. The ability to go deeper to the north with a paved area is somewhat limited. If you look here, this is the eastern boundary of the property. There is already foliage and plantings there that create sort of a natural buffer between the subject property and the property immediately to the east and its parking lot. And so the paving was done. It's new pavement. It's performed in a workmanlike manner, and it certainly dovetails nicely with the sidewalk that serves Mill Road there on the northern side of Mill Road. And obviously, Mr. Cox is happy to do whatever the board would ultimately decide is appropriate to maybe enhance or include some plantings. But in terms of what there is at this property in terms of space for a driveway, this is pretty much what we've got. And there is room for 2 cars to park. It is a permitted use, and I believe that the paving of this area has enhanced the utility of the property for that purpose, and would keep people off the street in terms of parking in the downtown, obviously very heavily traveled and congested area during the tourist season. So I think these pictures tend to demonstrate the limitations of the property and the fact that there aren't a ton of options, and that Mr. Cox has done everything he can do in terms of putting a parking area to serve this property and its use as a short-term rental, and that it tends to underscore the fact that there are unique property conditions here. There is no harm to the public interest in the sense that it's a permitted use, it's a desirable use, it's a perfect location for short-term rental, and it certainly would not create a precedent that the board would be forced to adhere to or contend with because of the nature of and the situatedness of this property at this corner.
Are there any questions at this point by the board?
I've got a couple.
Go ahead.
Yeah. How large is the rental unit upstairs and how is it divided?
It's roughly 900 square feet.
Uh-huh.
There is a large living space and kitchen.
Mhm.
Which is probably 2/3 of it, and then there's a bedroom. And like bathroom. In the other space,
So there's just a single bedroom?
correct,
One bedroom.
just one bedroom.
So is it sleep 2 or 4?
It sleeps 3.
3,
That's what it's allowed is three.
3.
Yeah,
Okay,
one bedroom is allowed
3,
three
okay.
individuals. It was approved by Tricia by the plan commission. The one bedroom unit was approved by the plan commission.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have another question. On the first floor, you have 2 units there and they're rented, are they?
Yeah, so. You have David Castor, who's was previously Coldwell Banker, but it's now Sotheby's.
Mhm.
So you got a real
Right.
estate space, and then you have a new tenant in there this year, so agrotherapy type of things.
And where do they park? The
They have to,
dumpster?
they were deemed to have to pay fee in lieu parking, so they had to pay $3,000 to the village to park on the street, so that was already squared.
So they can come at 6 in the morning and leave at 10 at night and they can keep their car on the street? Each of them,
I don't, I mean,
or whatever the,
yeah, I don't know what the regulations
Okay.
are, but I mean, they lived up to their end of the bargain, if you will, for the
Mhm.
village and paid their $3,000 to park on the street. I don't know.
Patricia?
I-
That was all decided at the plan commission.
Okay,
Where the other units would have parking, what was available, and those that couldn't, who would have to pay a fee.
Mhm.
Janelle could summarize that if you need further summary.
No, I'm just wondering, I'm just curious about how that all works out.
Yeah, they dedicated the rear parking to the apartment.
Mhm.
And the other 2 units they discussed and found acceptable measures for parking for them.
Mhm.
So the parking in the rear will be dedicated only to, and then once that was done, they did authorize that there could be 2 vehicles parked in the rear.
Mhm.
But that was before the issues came up with the code, and that's why we're here.
Mhm. Okay. And how much is paved? Is am I right that it's 36 feet? It's just short of 45.
Well, I mean, it's 39.5, just short of 40 feet, it's 39 feet.
Oh, okay.
You paved 39 feet?
What's that?
You paved 39 feet?
Yeah,
Mhm.
oh, we were supposed to be 40, but.
Well, I get it,
It
yep.
got,
Okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
So we did that and, well, none of these people until they were able to pay, right? So we got that done in May.
Mhm.
So the board gave him a permit for the STR?
Yeah, they were issued a temporary permit pending the variances.
Okay.
Of
That was
approval or
contingent
denial.
on this parking
Yeah.
needs that.
Okay.
That answers my questions.
Tom, did you want me to, since there's no one in the audience, did you want me to read Julie's statement?
Yes,
Okay.
this is a document that was written by the village administrator and concerning this matter.
Okay, it's a staff report from Julie Schmelzer, the village administrator, like Tom said. It's dated July 24th.
I'll do it, you know.
You want to read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dated July 24th, author Julie Schmeiser, village administrator. On September 26, 2023, the plan commission approved an apartment that can be used as a short-term rental and 2 parking stalls on site for the apartment. Cox was issued a temporary short-term rental license pending approval of a variance for his parking, which currently does not meet code. In order to operate as a short-term rental, Cox needs 2 parking stalls. Code requirements are: A, the stalls must be 9 feet wide. B, the stalls must be 20 feet deep. C, the stalls must be entirely on his property. D, the stalls must be 5 feet off the lot line. E, the stalls must be 3 feet from the building to allow for a landscaping buffer. F, the stalls must be asphalt or concrete. Number 4, in attempt to comply, Cox asphalted the gravel driveway, which was in existence for decades, but did not meet code as it was grandfathered. When he laid the asphalt, the driveway, which is where his parking stalls are located, should have been brought into compliance. However, there was not enough room to have a code compliant driveway. 5, in order to allow parking on the lot, he needs a variance for the following. He can meet the 9-foot width requirement. His stalls are 9.5 wide. The two stalls, he needs 40 feet of depth outside of the public right of way. So all parking is on his property. Per a survey submitted, it appears that just 37 feet. It appears that there is just 37 feet. That is a concern because we do not want cars hanging over the sidewalk. C, the former gravel driveway and the new asphalt is just 3 feet from the lot line to the east. D, the asphalt is approximately 1 foot from the building, leaving no 3-foot buffer. However, the former driveway was just 1 foot away from the building. 6, we are not here to debate the contents of the code. This is not an appeal of the zoning administrator's decision. Rather, we are here to decide if a variance is warranted. Per statutes, you must determine, and all 3 items must be met. A, there is an unnecessary hardship that warrants a variance or variances. B, there unique property limitations. C, will the variances result in no harm to public interest? 7, information about this property that might help you make a decision. Due to the size of the lot and the location of the legal non-conforming building, which is grandfathered, there is no other location for driveway parking. B, due to the building's location and neighboring lot line, even if the driveway had been shifted east or west, a variance still would have been required. C, the driveway itself has not caused public issues in the past, although it has been noted vehicles have at times blocked the sidewalk. 8, ways or options to mitigate public harm. A, allow compact cars only. B, give a variance allowing 1 car only instead of 2. C, require signage indicating cars cannot extend beyond the sidewalk, although the village does not support excessive signage. D, in addition, all rental rules specify no parking over the sidewalk or the vehicles will be towed. E, deny the variance. Note, there is a survey which shows different measurements than noted above. So, the property is in violation pending the outcome of this petition for grant of variance. Any questions? Anything be explained further? Mr. Cox, Mr. Attorney?
Just one thing, I think that the rental contracts and notifications to any renters as a condition to issuing the variance can make clear that there shall be absolutely no parking on site that hangs into or over the sidewalk. Whether that means that if you've got your Suburban XL, you bring 1 vehicle and 1 vehicle only, and you find someplace else for your Toyota Camry. If you're bringing 2 cars, then that's the way it has to be. That would prevent the need for signage. There can be advisory that if those, if any residents or tenants, at the property park out of compliance with those regulations, that their vehicles can and will be towed at their expense. Again, it would not require signage on the property, and it would not require necessarily limiting the pool of potential tenants to people with only Toyota Priuses and other small cars. But if you are going to come in a large car, you better bring the whole family, because you're only going to have one spot.
That's well said.
Mhm.
I mean, that says it all right there. I think as a body here, a group, we would like to be able to accommodate and put this matter to sleep for all concerned. So any thoughts? I'll go down the line from my board members.
I mean, we should allow them to have 2 cars there. It's grandfathered, they did whatever they could, so there's just limitation, but it's grandfathered that we should let them. If they make sure that people do not, park on the public walkway, because it's a very busy walkway, a lot of people walk there.
And we do have, rules for renters, that is not on there, so that's easily added, so when they walk in, so, let's just say, and highlight it.
All right, let me poll my members. Are all those in favor of granting a variance?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
Okay, everybody's in favor, all right. Now we need to decide what type of variance do we want. And I thought it was it sounds like they're willing to police themselves in this by putting up rules for the renters. And I'm willing to allow them to do that, because what I heard here sounds, can't really be improved on. I mean, if you got, when you say you're bringing a car, you can have a truck, a vehicle, it could be a truck, there could be a large SUV, or it could be a smaller vehicle, but it would hold the renters accountable with the stipulation. I would say that they have to be at least a foot or two north of the sidewalk, the parking. And whatever they can fit in that space would be acceptable.
Mr. Chairman, you may want to close the hearing.
At this time, is there any other questions for Mr. Cox? Or Ms.
no, I don't think so. Most of us have been here long enough and this has worked on that property. That parking behind there has worked, and I've never heard of any problems with cars.
Yeah.
Being a problem to one another as the property has changed hands through the years.
Okay. Is there any questions for Attorney Brunson? All right, then I will close the public part of the hearing on the appeal for the variance and open up, which is what we've been doing, is the discussion session. Yeah. So we've been discussing, so any thoughts on that?
I think 2 cars fine, like his attorney said, if they're gonna bring a Suburban or a big truck, then they better, like you said, come in one or find another spot for it.
Right, if that is, that's very acceptable, if that's communicated to your renters. I mean, whether you do it in the agreement, in a separate note on parking or whatever. But I think from what we've heard, I feel I'm willing to let you have that responsibility, and you can enforce it. And there's no reason for us to be having to enforce anything else in the village. There's plenty.
Yeah, that's simple enough. I mean, to your point, guys. I gotta let the renters know beforehand, not once they see the rules when they get in there. So, on Airbnb and VRBO, what have you, there's a list of things that,
I've
You
seen
can
that
message
before, compact cars or the small cars only.
yeah, that they have to,
Yeah.
they look, that's right there for them
Yeah.
to see, and that's a simple adjustment on the site, for sure.
When the village, plan commission, they're the ones that determine the number two vehicles at that time. Normally, a one-bedroom unit, which has three people allowed for a one-bedroom unit, is restricted to one vehicle.
Mhm.
And that's why we're having this discussion. They took it because of the other issues in the building and other parking. I believe that's why they elevated to number two for this apartment issue.
Yeah, and for all the renters we've had, I mean, not a lot, but so far this year and then previously, I mean, I can't think of too many none this year that have had two cars. You know, there's always a couple with a kid, you know,
Right.
that type of thing. So it would be unique. It's not well situated for two couples and that's not allowed, so. They have friends up with them, you gotta park on the street and go and visit them.
I'd like to ask if you've had any problem with people parking. It's very inviting, the parking space. And if people are driving around the block for the third time trying to find a parking place because they want to go to Chop or whatever, have you ever had anybody just pull in and use it and hope for the best?
That's probably a better question for my previous partner, Dave Castor, who still has the real estate office there. Because we haven't really rented it since 2020.
Mhm.
So not so far this year. I have not had a renter call me, hey, what's going on? The driveway, is someone's in the driveway?
Mhm.
I would have to imagine that has happened. But that's quite a brazen act by someone to do.
Especially
Okay,
during.
brazen people.
Really?
Yeah.
Nobody brazen comes to Door County. that's for
Yeah,
sure.
fair, but I have no instances, but I wouldn't be shocked if it happened.
Wow.
I did have one of our tenants park in there and one of the renters was there, like, hey, that's not for you. And she's like, well, I'm just moving stuff in and out. That's cool and all, but
Mhm.
just park right up there. That's their space.
Just wondering. Well, it's worked for two cars for a lot of years. At Fall Fest and various things when people, so.
All right, but let's see if we can give them two cars variance and
I'll make a motion that this board authorizes the parking of two vehicles with the owner being required to stipulate to his renters that the two vehicles have to be of a certain size that they easily fit within the driveway specifications.
I'll second it.
The decision document. We should go through the decision document just to provide reasons.
Yeah, well, we're gonna do it. That's the basis.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
second.
I second.
All right, then now we're gonna divert here and go through that decision document. I'm
Okay,
gonna see how my fellow board members assist here.
okay, now, can I read your motion back to you, Tom, just to make sure it's what you wanted?
Okay,
Okay, that based upon the previously mentioned findings, because you've got all these findings in there, the zoning board of appeals finds that the variance that was requested by Todd Cox on behalf of Door County Squares LLC shall be granted. That's your first motion. Then your second motion is that since Todd Cox's request for a grant of variance has been granted, the condition shall be imposed that no more than two vehicles will be allowed to park on site at any time. And renters shall be informed that if they are bringing a large vehicle, only one vehicle will be allowed on site. Under no circumstances will any vehicles be allowed to extend into the sidewalk. Is that okay?
yes, that's good. Okay, in our decision document, there are really,
Did you take a vote already?
No, we didn't
No,
vote.
they didn't take the vote yet.
All in favor?
well, we can do that. All in favor
Aye.
of those two?
Mhm.
Aye.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, we have to justify the decision now.
Mhm.
Yeah, you, Mr. Cocky, on your form, you've seen the reasons or the criteria that goes in to a variance that the state has put out there that have to be met. And we have to do something similar in that now to justify our decision in your case. So the A is preservation of intact. The variance is not consistent with the purpose and intent of regulations for the district in which the previously mentioned property is located. Well, it's,
It is.
I'd say it is because it's been grandfathered.
that's the.
Using two
For as
cars.
long as I've been living here.
Yeah. So we'll put grandfather using 2 cars.
Yeah.
B. Exceptional circumstances. There are not unique circumstances or conditions applying to the lot or parcel or structure that do not apply generally to other properties or uses in the same zoning clarification within 1,000 feet of the subject property. And the granting of the variance is not or so general or a recurrent nature as to suggest that the zoning code should be changed. So there are unique circumstances and conditions that apply to this parcel. Basically, because it is grandfathered and it is,
No other place to put the parking.
It's limited, yeah,
It's
there's
limited,
limited parking. Or limited area to park.
Limited space, yeah.
Space, yeah.
which does not affect all
Anybody
those.
else, no.
Yeah. Number C, hardship. Economic hardship and self-imposed hardship are not grounds for granting of a variance. The hardship must be based upon conditions unique to the property rather than consideration personal to the owner. And in this case, the conditions are very unique to the property.
Mhm.
Probably again, because limited space for parking.
And the building is located, the west side of the building is located on a highway. D, preservation of property rights. The variance is not necessary for the preservation, enjoyment of substantial property rights possessed by other properties in the same zoning district and vicinity, and will not harm the public interest because
Because it hasn't changed and it's been like that forever.
Yeah.
Other than the pavement. There was gravel there, but
The short-term use is a new thing,
A
but
new
the
thing.
residential use of that
Yeah,
has been a long-term use.
E is the absence of detriment. The variance will not create substantial detriment to adjacent property. Will not materially impair. So let's just say, the variance will not create substantial detriment to adjacent property and will not materially impair or be contrary to the purpose and spirit of the zoning code or public interest. We don't have to add that there.
no.
Based on the above findings of fact and conclusions of law, a motion was made by me and seconded by
I'll second it.
that the requested variance shall be granted. A roll call vote will be taken on that motion. And the board members will vote in the following fashion.
And I've got your motion, so you don't need to go through all that if you don't want to, Tom.
Okay. It's all ayes anyway.
Yes.
And the next part is the conditions that are imposed, and Janelle's got that already.
Yes.
I think you're there.
Mhm.
Gotta sign your life away now.
Should get it typed in there.
Yeah, that's all we need there.
Tom will need to stop in and sign it.
Yeah.
And then once it's done, once Tom signed it and it's all processed, then I'll forward it to you, and if you could forward it to your attorney, then we'll be good.
And without sounding threatening, because I don't mean to sound threatening in saying this, I just want to say that where a problem gets caused is when it comes up for renewal the next year. And a bunch of people show up, or the administrator says, I've seen people hanging their cars off the end of that sidewalk numerous times, and so we don't want to renew this. So I'm just gonna urge you to try to keep on top of that situation, so you don't find yourself in that situation. You
Yeah, I
understand?
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I've been through it, it's been a heck of a long journey. I'm doing everything I can to not have to come in here again.
Yeah, I don't wanna see you get blindsided by that.
Yeah.
Thank you. You know, I just wanna do my thing, try to do good for the community, and that's it. So that should be a simple thing, to keep people out of that extending off. So I really appreciate everyone's consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Does anybody have anything else? You know.
Mhm.
Call for adjournment at 6:19. Favor?
Seriously, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, have a good evening.
Thank you all. Thanks for letting me appear by Zoom. I really appreciate it.
It's fine.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Have a good night.
You didn't want to.
No, I-